Hello and welcome to IGD's Ultimate UTC RFP Bootcamp, Writing Your Research Abstract. My name is Valerie Loeffler and I am so glad that you're with us. This is the final video in our free training series. Let's get started. Now, the research abstract is without a doubt one of the most critical sections of your proposal. It is your center's first impression to the reviewer. This one page has been called to stand alone. And so you can just imagine the reviewers lining up all the proposals page by page to understand what is your center really all about. This section also gets a glimpse into the credibility of your center. Do you have what it takes? Can you synthesize ideas? Do your researchers understand what the needs are? It confirms your center's alignment with USDOT priorities and industry needs. So do you understand in this one section, really with respect to your topic area, what the USDOT is concerned about? And do you have what it takes to answer the call? And last but not least, it demonstrates your ability to follow instructions. They've asked for 4 very specific things in this one page. So UTCs have tons of strings attached. It is a lot of funding that they're dedicating of taxpayer money, and you need to demonstrate to the reviewers your attention to detail and your ability to understand what they're asking for. So while this section of the proposal may seem overwhelming right now, let's break it down step by step. So just a little bit about myself as we get started. So I have a bachelor's degree in business administration and a master's degree in public administration. So just a really great educational background looking at both the public and the private sector as we look at the RFP. I was a regional UTC manager for 10 years. We had at one point 8 partner universities and worked with over 100 faculty from 13 different academic disciplines. So just a really exciting, challenging center that made for a lot of opportunities. And then from there, started my own business and have been really successful. We've got contracts with Federal Highway, the FTA, State Departments of Transportation, universities, community colleges, military, consulting firms, and private industry. So in a short amount of time have been able to work with a lot of different entities. And then also I am currently a member of the TRB Conduct of Research Committee and was a graduate of the ARPTA Young Executive Leadership Program. Okay, so let's first look at some tips for making a great first impression with your research abstract. Number 1, I would strongly recommend writing this section first and have at least 5 people review it. Make sure that they understand exactly what you were trying to get across in this one page. Remember, you're going to have reviewers looking at this and having to do the exact same thing. So if you have 5 people who read it and each of them gets something different out of it, you probably weren't straightforward enough. Secondly, make sure you have absolutely no typos or grammatical errors. If there's any page you are going to have a professional editor look at, I would strongly recommend this page getting the VIP treatment by at least 1 or 2 editors. You cannot afford to have a typo or a grammatical error on this page. It's the equivalent of walking into a job interview with spinach in your teeth. It just does not leave the right impression when you're getting started. I would also make sure in this section you keep your sentences concise and your statements clear and to the point. You know, these topics are really complicated and it's really easy to start, kind of getting into the technical detail and kind of these sentences all of a sudden take a life of their own and you have a 3-line, statement and, people really get lost in that. So make sure your sentences are straightforward. And finally, make sure that your research abstract really embodies what your written application has in those 35 pages. You don't want them telling 2 different stories or confusing your reviewer. Now, one of my favorite apps to use when I'm trying to make sure my writing is straightforward and to the point is called the Hemingway app. It's based upon Ernest Hemingway, one of the most prolific writers of our time, who was really famous for creating short sentence structure when he was crafting his stories. And so what this app does is it basically automatically highlights certain things that are typically wrong in most sentences. Adverbs, passive voice, run-ons, so on and so forth. So check it out. It's hemingwayapp.com. Now, Word of caution, you will need to use your own judgment. I wouldn't necessarily follow it for everything, because you will notice that it is very aggressive in terms of making sure that you don't have long sentences. So sometimes you really will need to be using your own judgment, but it does a great job of giving you that, eyes wide open approach at looking at your writing. So check it out if you're interested. So the first section that they ask for in the research abstract is called your research topic statement, really where you're called upon to tell us or tell the reviewers what your center is going to focus on. And you want to make sure and tie this to the FAST Act research priorities. Go back into that RFP, go into that legislation, that document, the call for proposals, where the federal legislation says exactly what this money can be spent for. And you must make sure that you follow this. If you do not, your proposal is likely to be thrown in the trash or basically disqualified for not listening or responding to the instructions. Do not overcomplicate this response. They're really looking to make sure that your center is going to do work that the US DOT has authorized in the FAST Act. I would recommend spending no more than one paragraph on this section, because it's pretty much just saying, here is what we are looking at and here is what we are doing. So the second section of the research abstract is looking at what are your motives for pursuing this research. Now, it's really common for faculty to read this statement and think about, okay, well, they want to know why I'm passionate about this topic or why my research team is so qualified to do it. And while you may want to touch on that very briefly, I believe they're really looking at the motives for pursuing the research from a data-driven perspective. So if they're going to give your center millions of dollars to address this research topic, how is it going to benefit the U.S. infrastructure? So this is where you would want to look at your Beyond Traffic 2045 report. This is specifically mentioned in the RFP for your regional centers, but I feel there may be great information in there no matter what type of center you're proposing. You want to look at your US DOT administration reports, Federal Highway, FRA, FTA. Depending on what your research topic is looking at, there's some great stuff in there based upon the administrations that touch your topic and their strategic plans. You also might want to look at your recent TRB publications, in particular the cooperative research programs, NCHRP, so on and so forth. They have a great feel for what the state DOTs are commonly looking at. Industry association reports, your ARPTA, your ASCE, ITE, what trade associations are directly linked to your research topic and what are they saying their needs are. You also likely will want to link this to your center's geographic focus. So if you're a national center, what are some of the national issues? If you're regional, what are your regional issues? And if you're tier one, if you're looking at a very specific niche topic, you might want to touch on it there, but predominantly the national and definitely the regional, you're going to want to tie it to what your region's needs are. And then also, this is where you might want to, put a bow on it and tie it to your center's human capital. So what is the national and international leadership behind it that you're qualified for pursuing this type of research? So now the third thing that they ask for as part of the research abstract is the alignment of research topics and FAST Act topic list. So really, how does what you're proposing directly tie with what they've specified in the RFP? So going beyond what was just listed in the legislation, now getting into the details to make sure that what you're looking at is exactly what the US DOT needs. So here I've kind of went online and pulled out that section from the website address, rita.dot.gov/UTC/FAST/grant solicitation_2016/application/submission. There's no magic to where this is at. This is exactly where you can find the information to complete this section of the research abstract. So basically, based upon your topic, one of those 6, these are the sub-bullet points that they're saying they want to know which of these you're looking at. So in terms of giving federal money away, just to reemphasize this point, it has to align with what was allowed in the legislation. And so this is just one more place where they want to make sure what you are proposing matches what was federally allowed and how they tie together. I would keep this section to no more than one paragraph because, again, this is documenting what you're looking at and you want to be straightforward, and you can get a lot more mileage in terms of credibility with your reviewer talking about your motives for pursuing the research, or here in the next section we're going to talk about the impact. So the fourth and final section of the research abstract is really looking at the impact of your research on the transportation system and its users. So in essence, what is your center going to do to improve the transportation network? And let's be realistic about this, you have only 5 years. So when you put this information out there and you put this together, you really want to, don't overpromise, because the reviewers are going to see right through it. Also, you're going to want to make sure and be measurable. So based upon what your specific area of interest in their specific topic area is, reference those statistics from those reports we mentioned earlier. So how many bridges, how many miles of pavement or miles of asphalt, or number of buses, or metric tons of carbon, whatever your center is looking at, give some type of depth to what you're researching and how you're going to impact specifically our network. Secondly, don't forget about the users. Really, what are the outcomes going to benefit for those who use the transportation infrastructure? And now this is where you're looking at your target audience. Is it pedestrians? Perhaps it is the trucking industry and the truck drivers. So here's where they want to get down to business in terms of who at the end of the day, not necessarily looking at it, but who is going to benefit. And so make sure and identify your target audience in this section. And secret to this is going to indirectly tie to your education and workforce development goals, as well as your technology transfer plans. So here is where, when those sections are really strong, it's going to shine, and it's going to make the reviewer want to keep reading and keep learning more about what your center is going to do and how it's going to make it happen. So this is really in terms of your research abstract, where I would make sure it's very dynamic and engaging, and really shows what you have in store, what you have planned for your center goals. I hope you enjoyed our training on completing the research abstract. If you'd like more where that came from, I'd strongly encourage you to register for the full experience. Our complete Ultimate UTC RFP Bootcamp program walks you step by step through the full RFP. We're also going to help you generate ideas and also discuss various approaches to tackling some of the more complicated sections of the proposal. In addition, we're going to offer you some more bonus time saver resources, and most of all, help you complete the proposal so you avoid those headaches and overwhelm towards the end. And don't forget to check out our RFP checklist or our mini training on branding your center or collecting key proposal data. Now, more information is coming soon about the UTC Bootcamp program, so check your email, and registration opens on April 13th. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, if you have any questions or comments about our training on completing the research abstract or the Ultimate UTC RFP Bootcamp, please don't hesitate to contact us. My phone number and email address are listed on the slide, and I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you so much, and have a great day.